Hello, and welcome back to another pen talk. Thank you very much for joining me as I explore this amazing wide world of pens. And you see one rotating in front of you being held up by a scorpion. And this is a pen revisit because I recently have been using this pen every day, enjoying it, refilling it. And I think I need to just do a shout out and say, I really enjoy this pen. I get a lot of pens, sometimes too many, and they get confused, they get mixed up, and sometimes they sit on my desk and not being used. So this one, picked it up a little over a week ago, wrote with it, love the nib, love the feel of the pen. It feels expensive. It's very well made. It works well. Aesthetically, I think it's excellent. I enjoy that dark chrome look. You know, we may compare it to this one, which is certainly not dark chrome, but it's a shiny chrome. But I digress. So let's dive in and let's look at this pen and see why I like it so much. I'll give a link to my first review of this pen, which may have a little bit more detail in if you're interested. But when you pick up this pen, it has heft to it. It's not lightweight, but it just feels good. I love that finial with the dome, acrylic cap there. Inside is a description, and it mentions it's an A6. Hongdian made a bunch of these skeleton-style pens. So A6, D1, probably a bunch more. But this is the one we're going to look at in depth today. Cap fits very, very nicely. Nice snug fit. Takes less than a turn to uncap, which is also nice. And we see one of the things that I really enjoy about the aesthetics of the pen is this black nib and a really nice upscale feed on the other side. Some people might think it's hard rubber, ebonite. I'm not going to guess. It works well, which is all I care about. And yes, it's a metal section, which sometimes is not my favorite, but this one's not slippery at all. It's the same as one that might be made out of acrylic. I like it right now in my hand, unposted. This is a good weight for just that barrel alone. But there's people that like to post, and this does post fairly well, but that cap is heavy, and it does backweight the pen, and to me, it doesn't add to the writing experience at all. It detracts from the writing experience. So I would just put the cap aside when I'm writing, and that's what I would do. So the only one thing that bugs me aesthetically is there's a little bit of a gap there with this piston cap, and that's turned all the way in this direction, which raises up the piston. I recently refilled it, but I just love that filigree. I like it. It has a nice pattern to it, that vintage kind of look. Classic arrow clip, very functional, very stiff, but it'll work well, fit over some thick fabric or a pen case. And there's a nice filigree there, and that cap band and the smoky acrylic. You can still see the ink level. It is full, so you're not going to see it now. But it also kind of hides all that stuff for the piston, so that's good. I think we need to contrast it, compare it to the D1, which I have here in silver. The D1 also comes in a dark chrome. The finial there is a little bit different. We see that dove. Hongdian is famous for that. And we also see the model identification is also at the top of the cap. This has a more classic Hongdian clip. Again, very stiff, very sturdy. And the cap band here has some engraving in it. Let you know it is a D1. So this D1 is identified twice on the cap. And this is a somewhat different filigree, again, in that kind of vintage motif. But I just kind of like the flow of this design in the A6. This also comes off in less than one turn and has a standard stainless steel nib. Here we can look at the differences between those two nibs. Both of them write well, but I prefer the fine to the extra fine. I do get extra fines occasionally because my partner enjoys extra fines, but now she's gone into more fines, which is good. Similar type of section, but this one's a little bit more slippery, which I atone to the plating. You know, it's a shiny plating versus somewhat of a dull finish here. But they're about the same length, and here that piston cap does come all the way down, so there is no gap. I'm certain I could disassemble this, and I will do that next time I clean it, and, you know, engage that piston cap a little bit differently so it will close. Let's take a look at some writing. I think I heard the nib has a little bit of feedback, but I like the feedback. And this Fabriano paper has a little bit of texture to it, so that increases the feedback. But again, to me, I like feeling the nib on paper, and this A6 nib works well for that. I enjoy it. So I just wanted to show you the D1 extra fine nib. It is a slightly finer line, but not much. It's also a little smoother, which is very nice. Maybe the black coating adds to the feedback. But again, both of these are good writers, and they have KWZ Azure number, whatever. But I accidentally filled this one with diamide glitter ink, but it flows well and the ink seemed to mix together well, which is very nice. So I've reached the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Something a little bit different for me. I'm really not motivated to buy new pens. I know there's always pens out there that might attract your attention and say, gee, I'd like to have that. But I have tons of pens, and I do certainly enjoy revisiting them. Sometimes they get lost on my desk, and all of a sudden I pick them up and I go, whoa, I should have used this pen more. And these are two examples of that. The nib's a little soft, which again is a sweet spot for me as far as how a nib feels on paper. And Hongdian has done a great job, as with many of the Chinese makers, Asveen, etc., etc. So hopefully you can find a pen that you enjoy. I just wanted to share the A6 again with you. Hope this video finds everyone safe, healthy, and happy. Enjoying your pens, enjoying every day. Great fall day here in the eastern part of the United States. Crisp weather. I enjoy the fall. So with that, I want to thank everyone for watching. We've reached the end of this video, and we will say bye-bye.